Good day and welcome back to another Backstage Pass podcast. We haven't done these in quite a while because we've been busy. The world has been falling apart. We've had work and we had to focus on things that are more important, just so that you understand how chaotic it's been. War broke out in the Middle East. Obviously, our office there has been impacted. And then it started raining in Dubai, and then our warehouse got flooded, and then an interceptor shot down a missile, and the missile fell on top of our warehouse, and it's just been an uphill battle ever since. But we finally gotten to this point where we can have a chat and share some good old stories from where we come from. Now, the purpose of this podcast is to share the stories of the people who make this industry great. And every single year, new kids come into the industry with expectations of making millions of rands in a single year. And that's not always the case. It's not how it works. It's long hours that become long days, long weeks, long years of commitment, dedication, and ultimately growth. And here we are to share the stories of those people who moved through the deep waters in our industry. And there's this phrase that no man crosses the same river twice. But in the events industry, you get chafed in the same place multiple times and it ain't fun. So, our guest today has been on the same journey as most of us. Interest in music ultimately led to studying sound, started working on festivals, ended up in corporate, and now finally in a management role. Now, the first show we did together is, I think, almost roughly 15 years ago. We were driving with a van from Cape Town to East London. There was chaos on the road. We braked. A draping pole shot past, almost stabbing into my throat, almost killing me, and it just stopped in front of the window. Yeah, it's been an uphill, chaotic journey so far. It's definitely been interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to please welcome our woodworking forest nymph, Michael Woodland. Yo, welcome, Michael. it's it's been an interesting morning getting onto this call because Michael forgot about it. And then, as always, when we deal with the audio guys, the guys that come from the audio side, it's a challenge to get the audio sorted. But that's how we roll. You know, it's always the audio guys that are some shape or form a problem. So, Michael, welcome. Please share with the people what it is you currently do. What is your role? And ultimately, how do you make enough money to look after your 13 children?
Well, I don't know about the other 10 children. I'm not sure where those are. The three that I'm aware of, yeah. My name is Michael Woodland. I'm the Cape Town branch manager at Multimedia. I've been at Multimedia for, I don't know, pushing 15 years. And yeah, started as sound and now I'm here. That's it.
So, Mikey, as with all these podcast sessions, the first question that I ask the people is to provide a word that defines your career so far. Share with the people, what is your word?
I chose solid. It was either solid or dependable. I think I put down two options. And yeah, it's just, I've always claimed to never be the best, but just to be consistent. You know, that's a word that we throw around a lot, and just, deliver the same every time kind of thing. Whether it's everything, the event can change, anything can change, but if you deliver the same standard, then yeah, that's me, solid, I
Yep.
guess.
It's always one of the coolest things to see the word that people choose, because it fits so well with each and every single individual. And when I saw solid or dependable, I had this little bit of a laugh on the inside because the only solid and dependable thing we've done over the last few years is not making smart lifestyle choices. And now we finally reached that age of being old whims that need to start looking after ourselves and making smarter lifestyle choices. And Michael started running. I don't know, I can't remember if it was last year or this year, but Michael is currently run fit. And my first park run I ever did was with a overweight run fit individual, and I was like, I'm gonna run you into the ground. But I ended up dying. Just before the finish line, an old man with his Jack Russell came past, and I was like, I am never running again. And here we have Michael running often. Last 2 days you've been sick, so you haven't been running. But it's cool to see how you push yourself to be better as you go through this journey from moving from or starting out in the industry, getting to a state where you're like, okay, cool, I need to start looking after myself and making healthier choices. And it's been cool. It's been cool to see your journey, see you sticking to the things that are important in your life. But how did you end up in this wonderful industry of events?
Yeah, kind of like you alluded to it earlier, I studied sound just like just about every other person. Came out of matric, didn't actually know what to do. Kind of was either sound engineering or the very similar game ranging. Um, chose sound engineering with the the hopes and dreams of traveling the world on a cruise ship doing Lani shows, and then never got to the cruise ships and just started working and then working more and working more, and it's just evolved. It's just take it one day at a time, I guess.
Mm.
It was never a plan. It was just happened.
Mm. It's funny, like I love asking people when I meet them, how did you end up in events? Because I have this theory none of us actually plan to go into events. It's always something that you stumble your way into, especially in the corporate side. You have people that might have come from a marketing background, they studied marketing, and then they end up as part of the events team in corporates. But the mention of cruise ships is an interesting thing because it's not something that has popped up with the conversations that I've had with the other folks so far. Um, it was something that I also looked into at the right at the beginning when I started studying, and I was like, "This sounds fun. It sounds like this great adventure." And obviously, that you didn't make that decision to go on to cruise ships. I have a few friends who have. Um, and you have a family and you have a successful career, do you ever ponder on what life would have been like if you decided to take on the opportunity of doing cruise ships?
Um, I do. I must say I do. I wouldn't say I miss it. I've never been there, obviously, but I do wonder
Mm,
what would have happened if. Um, and when we have younger staff, they want to go and spread their wings and explore and stuff like that. As much as it irks me to say it, I say to them, well, go do it, go see it, go check it out.
mm,
You're never gonna know if you don't go.
mm.
Sometimes they come crawling back, and sometimes no names will be mentioned, and sometimes they spread their wings and they find something that is better for them than what they currently have. So
Mm,
yeah, I often think about it. I've got a couple of friends that worked their way up their career in the cruise ship thing, obviously starting out as a technician, and they are working up to, I call them just bingo masters. I say they just play bingo with old people all day long, but obviously it's a bit more important than that. um but yeah, there is sometimes dreams of sailing seven seas.
yeah, we Michael tiptoed around it. We have a teammate that left for Australia. Yes, about 2 years ago, roughly. And we all said, bye. We wish you all the best. And I said to him, bro, this is not going to be fun. It's going to be hard, but commit, push through. One day you will be able to be a full citizen and you can build a great life in a great country. And I think it was there for like 3 months, and he called us and he was like, I have to come back. I can't deal with this. I miss the South Africans. I miss my people. I miss how things work back home. And he ultimately came back. And that's like one of the big things that you kind of need to be aware of is it is very flashy to look at all these international opportunities. There are a few people top of mind that are doing international things, and it is cool. But some people prefer to be with their own people, and the fulfillment of working with great people is a lot more valuable than doing cool shows because you can do cool things, but it's with a bunch of horrible people. And at the end of the day, you don't actually enjoy it. And this industry is not a normal industry. So you have to be surrounded by epic people. So, talking about normal industry, what was a moment where you kind of realized that okay, this is what I'm doing currently is not a normal job?
I can probably give you two examples. So I'll give you the one was right in the early days of my career on a rugby field or a soccer field or a I don't know some sort of field with a grandstand in Uppington, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's about minus some infinity degrees. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt because that's what I wore, and I'm climbing on a frozen scaff pipe, pulling soccer pegs cable across a scaff roof structure. And I think at that stage, like at the time, it was cool, but also like, no, I'm getting paid to do this. My other buddies that from school are not getting paid to do this weird and wonderful stuff. And then my other example would be much more recent. I was sitting at home. I don't know what I was doing, mowing the lawn or outside, and I could hear the neighbor next door. He had friends over, and they were having a braai. And he said to his friends, you know, I've been at work every day from 7 a.m. until 7 in the evening this whole week. What kind of quality of life is that? And I was just rolling my eyes, going, yes, Ibuti. It's like half day in the industry. Obviously, you know, we work from straight through. And it was just like a realization that we live in houses in a complex, the same house, like, you know, block of plain houses. And we've both got to this point via different routes. Yeah, some clearly harder than
Yeah.
others.
I used to joke when I was still at tech, just after I got married, we used to joke and say, yeah, like let's say it's like 1 year after I was married, like the 1 year anniversary, I started making jokes around my kid is already 18 years old because of all the overtime I've worked. So you kind of get used to this thing. Where, oh, just like we're spending quite a lot of time at work. And one of the guys that we used to work with, Ruan, he always, if someone complained about overtime, he was like, "What do you do after Wednesday?" Like, this is the hours that you're working is nothing for us. Um, you mentioned climbing scaff towers and things in Uppington in the frost.
Freezing.
I had a flashback now. Years ago, we did this thing in Soweto. I can't remember for what it was exactly. I think it was a tourism thing, and we had fast fold screens that we had to set up like 3 o'clock in the morning in Soweto in the winter. And it was so freezing. Like when you take truss and stuff out of the van, your hands start freezing. And you're like, this is horrible. And then when we had to set up the screens, it was so cold that we couldn't stretch the screen to actually clip into the clips on the frame. And then you're standing there and you're like, what? Why are we doing this? This is like one of the worst things that can happen, and the shows are chaotic, but it pushes you to experience different things, and you ultimately end up being able to have a conversation like this and share the stories of the things that you've experienced. And new people coming into the industry always listen and they laugh, and then they start creating their own unique stories. Like we're currently busy with a massive thing in Bothaville as well, and the stories coming from it because it's raining and it's mud everywhere, and it it brings people closer together ultimately at the end of the day. So
We were sorry. Can I interrupt you quickly?
yeah,
I'm going to interrupt you. You're talking about the rain and stuff. So obviously, I saw the photos and the videos that you saw as well. And myself and some of the other members of staff here in the office were looking at each other, going like, "Sure, been there, done that. Like, got the t-shirt. Well, not actually got the t-shirt. Threw the t-shirt away. Um, and yeah, don't miss it. It's just like But at the end of the day, the gig has to happen. You got to
yeah.
set it up. Come rain or shine, it's got to be there. Someone paying for it to be there, and it's always. We also said it's always the ones that you suffered the most on that you remember. You don't remember the easy ones. You
Mhm.
just remember the ones that you suffer on. Sorry, as
It's
you
it's
were,
this
sir.
this no, all good. It's the shows that ultimately bring people closer. The
Mm.
strongest relationships you form is in those moments of chaos, and people might shatter through the years, go and work at different companies, go and work overseas, but you always have that moment, that war story that brings people closer together, and it provides this opportunity, like for you to have this deep check, and you make these realizations that ugh, this is horrible, or there's a lesson in this thing. And that's the big thing. Like these intense moments, there's always some sort of lesson that you can learn. And a lot of times those lessons come from people. So, who would you say gave you your very first reality check?
Can I mention names?
You can mention names.
I'm going to mention name. I'm going to say it's old Uncle Hanu Schmidt. Um, Hanu was one of my lecturers at college, and I obviously started working for him. The story goes, we were doing a festival. Yet again, it's always a festival. And we were doing, yeah, it was raining. It was out in Malmesbury, and there was a turnaround from one band into the next, or one thing into the next. There's about 2,000 people in this tent, all of them very well warmed up on Clippies and Cola. And we obviously changing over to the headline act. I think it was a full band. And when I say full band, it's like all the big players, there's Fluis and Denny and David Claassen, all the A-listers and big big artists. And me, I had to patch the stage. And all the individual sub malts that come to the main malt, I just patched them straight 1 to 8, 1 to 8, 1 to 8, 1 to 8, not actually selecting only the channels that will be used, which obviously roughed up there at the sound desk. There's complete chaos on the sound board. I think we were late and running behind, and Hanu still took the time to get off his chair, march all the way down the center pikey there towards the stage. He crapped me out from a solid height, turned around and walked back. Obviously in front of all the rest of the crew, in front of all the people in the front row of the seats, in front of all the A-list artists of the country. Yeah, so I felt about this big, and I didn't do it again.
Yeah, that's the main thing. You didn't do it again, because that's what I actually wanted to know. It's like, and did you ever do it again, or have you been behaving actually?
Yeah, no.
So-
double check.
With these moments where people give you this reality check and they tune you, you kind of feel bad and it kind of breaks you down, but like it's a lesson that you can learn from. And at that moment, you're usually like, this is the worst thing ever. And as your career moves forward, you kind of have different moments where you realize, oh, those learning moments were not as bad, because things can always get worse. So, what is the worst moment you've had at an event?
This one made me think. Obviously you had the pre-questions, and I can't think of a specific worst moment like I wanted to crawl up and die. But what I can think of is, I mean, there's been many of those. I just can't think of them. One of the ones I think that I had the most pressure was early on in my career is myself and yet again Hanu. We were setting up an event. This was a Dames ontbijt out in the winelands of Paul. And we set up as per usual, the two of us. And then he just says, I'm going now. I'll see you at 4:00 when you're done. And I'm like, sorry. And he just left. And there was me with a digital sound desk. So things move when you press buttons, which I'm not used to. There was entertainment acts, more of South Africa's top Afrikaans artists. Obviously, me being English, that was a great time to brush up on my Afrikaans. And yeah, I think I had about 2 hours before the show, before anybody arrived, and I just sat there. He said one thing. He said, if you get stuck on the desk, just press the home button. That'll take you back to like 0, and then you go from there. And this was obviously before the time of like online manuals or the internet, really like accessible internet. So yeah, you just press buttons, and when you can't get any further, press home, and then fake it till you make it. All in Afrikaans.
I was never an audio tech. I would never classify myself as an audio tech. But twice in my life, I was standing behind an audio desk all by myself because someone was just like, you got it, bro, choose mine. And they would just leave me there. The one was for graduation for university, and the other one was it was an event at a high school. Can't remember what the event was. But they had a performing artist there. Joshua Nodirian was performing, and I was like, bro, I have no idea how does this work. And I was just like, okay, cool. You add some reverb in because reverb needs to go in. How much? I don't know, but hell yeah, just to wing it.
Taste.
and you fall apart and everything is just crap and not the most fun. But ultimately nothing ends up going wrong in some of those cases, but sometimes things do go wrong. um, when did something go wrong in your career, and how did you make a decision, a call in a few seconds to kind of deal with it?
Um, sure. I think you make calls all the time. Like let's say a common one would be a presenter on stage. Now let's talk corporate now. A presenter or even a singer for a band or an entertainment act, and the microphone starts giving you issues. It's like
Mm.
where do you at what point is the issues that the microphone is giving you bad enough to stop the show and fix it, or is it not bad enough that you can just kind of limp through until you get to the end? How much disruption is it actually worth?
Mm.
Those are calls that you kind of have to make on the spot, and every situation is obviously by itself. I think also, if you want another war story, my first ever event for multimedia, we were doing an event for a big tobacco company, and Michael Mole was the MC, and obviously a TV personality, and his microphone, his headset mic decided to die or skip some sort of issue in the middle of the show. And I was the junior guy, and someone said, I think Tim, in fact, actually said, Mike, go fix it, go fix it. So I ran up there on stage in front of 300 people, and now I'm starting to undress Michael Mahal and put hands down shirts and up shirts. And Michael's now make the whole, he's obviously trying to make light of it. He's like, ooh, Michael, oh yes, oh nice, ooh. Now it's up, now it's turned into a comedy act, and I'm the freaking monkey in the middle. Yeah, it was less than fun as well.
It's funny, like whenever people share their stories where they have to go onto stage and like suddenly you are in the spotlight and everyone sees you. um Quite a few years ago we were working on a TV show, and the host, the MC, had issues with their eyes, so we had a comfort monitor on the stage for him to reference because he couldn't see to the comfort monitor closer to cameras. And at some point, the technical director was like, "Okay, we need someone to go and remove the comfort monitor from the stage." And I was like, "Okay, cool, sweet. I'm in the lighting department. This doesn't impact me." And someone was like, "You go." I was like, but now I need to go and fetch this thing on the middle of the stage in a live TV broadcast. So the stage manager gave me a headset, and I would stand, and the technical director would say, "Go," and I would run, and they'd be like, "Stop," and I would just stop and stand still as they shoot past me, and they would yell, "Lie down," and I would lie down on the stage, shooting over my head, and the audience is obviously pissing themselves inside the venue because they're like looking at this dude doing a bunch of random moves, trying to get to this comfort monitor, and then when you get off the stage, you're like, what the hell was that? This is like the most humiliating thing that you can put someone through, to get onto a stage and have to deal with something in front of everyone.
But
But yeah, it's
isn't that the sorry, I was going to say, isn't that like the epitome of the live events? Is this people running around like headless chickens, sorting out stuff, and everybody at home has got no idea as to like
yeah,
what's going on. To them, it's a
the,
perfect show, but behind the scenes, it's chaos.
yeah, you're watching this broadcast and you're like, oh man, this is so good. Like, look at all this stuff. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, it's just pure chaos. But with something going wrong and making a call in seconds, one of my very, very, very first shows, I was on lighting, and I was working for a gentleman, and he was doing audio at that point in time. And I was constantly missing cues with the lighting. Like everything was like always like a little bit late. And at one point, he just exploded, and it was like pushed me to the side and started programming stuff on the lighting desk. And he moves back behind the audio desk looking at me like all judgmental. And I was like, sorry, dude. Like, yeah, like I screwed up. Like, yes, 100%. And the next performance starts to happen, and it's his responsibility to play the track and then obviously unmute mics, and everyone is singing, and he plays the wrong song.
Ooh.
And I'm standing there like, what are you gonna do now, buddy, about this thing? And it's funny how when things goes wrong and you try to step in and fix something, but you drop the ball. It kind of has this rollover thing that is like super cringy long term, and like to this day we still make jokes about what happened there. But what would you say? What mistakes did you make throughout your career that makes you cringe when you think about it today?
So I did the one obviously that I had in your questionnaire, but you just sparked another memory of mine. We are talking about the wrong track, which I'll quickly start with this one. Um, Big events, Grand West Arena. I don't know how many thousand people, and I'm queuing up a walk-up song in my earphones. So I thought, actually, I played it live at full volume in the middle of someone's presentation. I don't know what song it was. Moves like Jagger or something. And obviously, for like 2 seconds, put it out. And what do you do? Like, you just go on the comms and just like, sorry. The show caller from America is like, oh, these bloody audio guys. Um, and yeah, and the worst part is I made that same mistake again on the same event 3 years later in the same venue. That's yeah. I haven't done it since. But yeah.
It's good to know that you've rather moved into management than doing actually audio, because it sounds like it's been a downhill experience for you.
Yeah, I got out of just before I could. Um, and then the other example would be the stage size. I know you and I have chatted about this before. It was it was a band event, and I'd see all the different tech riders, all completely different. I said, this stuff is not going to fit on the stage. It's never going to happen. Yes, the project manager, that's going to fit. He's worked it out. So I'm looking at it. I'm going, there's no ways. So I push and push and push. No, we need to make the stage bigger. Cool. Finally, they give in, make the stage bigger. I don't know how much it costs, but it costs money to make the stage bigger. On the day we're setting up, the stage arrives. I was like, oh, this stage is big. And it's not going to work. It's too big now. Cancel the side stage. Yeah, or the stage that I fought for, I had to cancel it, eat the humble pie. But it was for the better of the event. If we'd kept it in because I wanted it in just to prove a point and make sure we used it, it would have not actually. It would have been degrading to the event. It wouldn't have done it justice. The stage was perfect all along.
So, some people do know better, Michael. So, with these cringy moments, what would you say? What did you learn from it? What did these moments teach you ultimately?
Sure, just like you can't change it. It's done. It's happened. So just put your hand up. Say it was me. Say I'm sorry. Be sorry. Don't just say I'm sorry and don't be sorry. Be sorry. Learn from it. Try not to do it again unless it's an audio walk up. Then do it again 2 years later. But yeah, just put the hand up. Own it. Claim it. Don't bring anybody under the bus with you. Just take it on the chin. Take whatever repercussions there are. And try not to do it again. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think one of the big things in the industry is like you are gonna make mistakes. You are gonna do something that is gonna make someone angry at the end of the day, and you are gonna be called out for it, and you have to take responsibility for it, even though it's not fun, because it's a moment for you to learn something from it, and hopefully in the future not do it again unless you play the same track or not track again 2 years later. But it's an opportunity to learn something. So what would you say, how do these things impact you in your career? How do these things change you in the way that you lead a bunch of people today in Cape Town?
So you're asking the difficult questions now. I think it's just knowing. So obviously the mistake is just here and now. It's what is that? What impacts does it have outside of the here and now? Obviously it affects the here and now, but there's knock-ons which you might not even think of. You're might not even be apparent. And I think if you can get to a point where you can see what those knock-ons are going to be, th- then you can address things here that might not seem like a risk or anything, but you can see the risk down the line. Um, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I had this thought now. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with the content department regarding a big thing that they did the designs for all the print elements, and it's one of the things that popped up. Seeing the issues that's going to happen further down the line, because the designers obviously look at the technical drawings and then they do all the designs. They create print bibles, and they say like a lot of times the people that are further down the line will not worry about things that's up the line. They'll be like, no, cool, well, we'll get to it. We'll deal with it on site, whatever the case may be. But if you've built up experience over the years, you kind of know when you're going to step into a hole, and then you kind of try to call it out and ensure that these things don't happen. And people don't always understand it, and they want to question it and like, why are we having this conversation? It's not important at this moment in time. I'm busy. There's more important things. But if you want to be seen as a leader in an industry, you have to speak up when you kind of see these potential pits that people can fall into. So, what would you say is the hardest part of leading in this industry that no one actually warns you about?
Um, sure. It's just like this whole conversation. It's hard. It's difficult. It's gonna take sacrifice. You're gonna miss things. You're gonna be unpopular. You can be
Mm.
popular, but then you not for very long. Like somewhere down the line, you're gonna have to make decisions and be unpopular. Be it at home, be it at work, be it with a client, be it with a supplier, be it with a colleague. Um, yeah, I suppose every career is hard, but this let's call it this industry has got a different set of parameters that it works in.
Mm.
It's, it's not
Mm.
9 to 5. It's not behind a laptop in an air conditioned office. Those careers have their challenges and are difficult, but as we said earlier, we're trying to do ours in the mud and in the rain. But still, it's still a job and a career. But there's
Yeah.
external factors kind of influencing.
It's funny, like I had this thought now, with you saying like you're either gonna make a supplier or a client or whoever angry. Um, the entire industry is a massive give and take thing. I think it's very rare that you do a project where everyone is really happy from start to finish all the way through. You might have a customer focused individual and the customer who are both happy, but somewhere in the process there's strain on ops department or on the technicians or the content department, whatever the case may be. There's always something that someone gets pissed off. And it made me think of a experience, the TV show that I mentioned earlier. We had the setup. I think it took us about 5 or 6 days to do the entire setup, and we had this grid hanging in the middle of the venue. And the camera crew came in the day before we started filming. They set up all their stuff, and the technical director said, "No, the main grid needs to come down a bit. She's not happy with the height at which it's at." And the grid got lowered, but now on camera you have this black wall where the grid used to fill the space, and we had to re-rig, I'd say about 50%, 40, 50% of the entire rig overnight to fix it. And you're extremely in that moment because everyone is like, get it done. They go home, they leave, and you know that, okay, cool, it's like 11 o'clock at night. Our day is just continuing. It's going to take us the entire night to fix this. Tomorrow we have a full day of recordings, and then we program the next day, the night. So you know you're going to be there for another 36 hours or whatever the case may be. And in those moments, everything is horrible and you hate the world. But once you push through and you commit and you sit back and you actually see that the request was the right request and everything looks better, you're kind of like, okay, cool, I get it. But it does take a lot of, like, you offer a lot. The industry does take a lot, but the industry ultimately gives back to you. So, what would you say is a skill that matters most in events that you can't learn from any sort of textbook?
It's just to be like a just if it's hard enough as it is no one needs to have an attitude or an ego or a holding or anything. Just be cool. Just be like a be nice to get along with. There are so many guys out there and girls that are extremely talented, but they don't get booked because somebody else with a little bit less skill but is just easier to get along with, they get booked, they get the gig, they get the
Mm.
contract. Yeah, just make life easy for other people. Just be cool.
It's funny, like through my years, most of it at multimedia, there's always been someone who made life difficult through not being lacquer. And you kind of start hating this person. And doesn't matter how good they are at their job, doesn't matter if they're an expert. You're just like, I don't want to work with this person. And in some cases, people start to realize it and then they start changing and they try to be lacquer. And then you realize, like, wow, this person is actually a freaking amazing human being. But they had ego at some point and they didn't want to be lacquer because I'm better than everyone else. So the pressure was too heavy on them and they didn't want to be a decent human being at that time. Because oftentimes stress does push people to respond in a certain way. Because at the end of the day, they want the show to go well and be the best that it can be. And in these moments of pressure, you kind of need to decide what human being you want to be. Do you want to be a strong leader that takes control and leads people with integrity and honesty, or do you want to be a douchebag that screams and shouts? But that's everyone's own journey, and you kind of find people in different stages of their journey throughout the year. So, how would you say do you handle the pressure when things go wrong and people start looking towards you for answers?
Sure, I'm feeling the pressure right now. This is a loaded question. Um, sure. I don't know. I can, without sounding like I'm a tyrant, I can relate to just what you said, Nana. Was when the pressure's on, people, people get a little bit edgy, people get a little bit snappy. And that's a conversation I actually had this morning with somebody else. It's like, you know, who rolls downhill? The people are under pressure and they're snappy because they also got pressure from the top, and those people are being pressured
Mm,
and pressured. There's a whole pressure system that sits down. Um, I think for myself, when I'm under pressure, I know and I realize that I don't know everything. And it's to go find the people that do know, ask them,
mm.
see what they know, check, get their insights, get their lean on their experience because they've been there or they understand the system or whatever. Um, Not everybody can know everything, so just use the resources that you have to your advantage. And obviously, that
Yeah,
the whole process. Sorry, yeah, go for it.
I think like the asking questions is something that has popped up through the different podcast sessions as well. Um, in some cases, things might be new challenges. So you might be surprised to find yourself in an environment where you don't have the answers and you go to someone else hoping that they can provide you with the answers, but they might not know either because it's kind of a new challenge. But if you end up always asking the same questions or asking for the same help because you're not willing to challenge your own thinking or your own push growth in your own skill sets, you kind of piss off people as well. So you can't always run to, oh, but this person knows. Because at some point that person is like, bro, I have told you how to do this or how
Yeah.
to deal with this. And it's something that we do see with young people coming into the industry, asking the same questions over and over and over, because it's easier to ask the question and someone's going to tell you what to do rather than taking responsibility and dealing with the thing. And I understand there is fear, like you are scared that you can make a mistake or whatever the case may be. But it is an opportunity to actually listen and build up your own unique skill set to be able to deal with the things, because you don't always know if that person who does know is going to be there indefinitely at the company.
Mm. And I think if
So
you once you sorry once you've made your decision, whether you've asked somebody else or you still have to, their answer or their input is not golden. You got to ask them and
yes.
then take that and just use that as a reference point, kind of thing.
Mm,
Still make your own decision and then stick to your decision. Back
mm,
yourself with the information that you've
mm.
got. Sometimes
There's
you're wrong
this
and sometimes you're right.
there's this interesting thing in Japan. So when a older individual gets to a point where they need to retire, some of the companies, the guys retire, but they just move into a different role where they stay inside the company. There's a little office for them, and the old toppy just sits there and he does nothing purely for if a younger guy has a question, they can go to this old toppy and ask him the question because the old toppy has the experience. And I think it's such a cool thing that you have access to people that will be able to help you. But there is this change in uh, ability based on time that flows. So the old Tupi will know how to do things in the old historic way, not necessarily the new way of doing things. And I think like we can see it even at multimedia with the change that we've gone through over the last 5 years. There's a lot of guys here that are newer people that understand the system far better than the guys that have been here forever, because they were part of the change. And the older toppies would be like, back in my day, but back in my day won't necessarily um, work at that point in time. So, Mikey, if you didn't work in events, what would you do?
Be a woodworker. Woodwork. I'll take it. That's Kif. Make stuff.
So, share with people a little bit how you got into woodworking.
Um, sure. I mean, we had woodworking at school, which I didn't do. All the rugby jocks were in the woodwork class. I was in the other class. So yeah, wasn't an interest in. I'd say so. The moment it happened, my wife and I we bought our house, and as you buy your house, then you want to furnish your house. So where you go? You go to Coreycraft. Was why there for all the nice stuff. And then you see the prices of the stuff, and you go, "Yo, that's a bit steep. I can make that." So you go home and you make it, and that's where it started. Obviously, with COVID and everybody doing a lot less sound and lighting, we were doing a lot more woodworking. And there are other team members within multimedia, outside of multimedia, friends of mine that also into woodworking. And yeah, just one thing leads to the next. And now it's woodworking. I dig it. It's a nice little escape. I get to freaking tinkle with my toys in the garage and see what comes out. Yeah, makes
And
sawdust.
it's a side hustle that actually does make you money from time to time. Yes, it's not a full blown thing, but it's fun to make something for someone and they're actually willing to give you money
Yeah, I call it spur money.
with your 13 children. So,
Just the three,
uh,
just the three.
so Mikey, what do you wish someone told you before you started in this industry?
Ooh, I want to say that it is hard, but then again, we've said that a couple times. I think the memories that you will make, no one tells you about the memories, the friends, the buddies that you make.
Mm,
Like you said, is that shared trauma. I had a buddy now recently last weekend. He came down from overseas, and I haven't seen him for about 3 years. And within 5 minutes, it's like you just saw him yesterday. You just carry on from where you left off. My
mm.
buddy who works on the cruise ship, if we chat on the phone, it's like you spoke to him yesterday. You just locked in there. Um, I don't. I'm sure you get friends like that in other careers, but I don't know if there's as much sickle and hardship that you guys go that people will go through together. and you go from loving each other to screaming at each other to hating each other to loving each other again, all in 5 minutes. But yeah, those deep friendships and personal connection. I
Yeah.
think that no one tells you about that.
I think like one of the longest remaining memories that I have with you is that birthday party we did in the Lookout in Cape Town.
Oh yes,
So for
Dale's 50th.
for Dale's 50th. So for the viewers, I was employed by a different company, and it was like just before Christmas. So I get a call from multimedia. We have the show in the Lookout in Cape Town. You're in Cape Town. Please go and assist on the show. I'm like, okay, cool. What am I doing? Now just hands. CJ wants you there. CJ basically wants to do a show with all his friends.
Oh, you should have run at that point.
Over or just after Christmas. I'm like, okay, cool, sweet. I'll go and do the show. So I had to submit a quote for how much it's going to cost for me to do the show, and I had this realization, and I was like, why would they ask me like 2 days before Christmas to do this show? Like, something's off. So I called CJ, and CJ's like, no, dude, we have all the crew and all our friends are gonna be there. Like Ruan's gonna be there, Johnny's gonna be there, Michael's gonna be there. We have crew. It's gonna be amazing. I was like, okay, cool, sweet. So I send a quote, like expensive quote, and multimedia comes back and like, dude, why is it so expensive? Like you're ripping us off. And I was like, I don't believe there's crew. And they're like, no, there's crew. And I was like, I don't believe there's crew. I believe I am the crew. So they end up signing off on this thing. And I remember I arrived at the venue and like I walked in and you walked up to me and you were like, there's no crew. I was like, here we go. So it's like the five of us doing this colossal show. And the gear had been moved down to Cape Town over the months, and all the gear had to be moved back to Joburg after that show. And we're loading trucks, offloading trucks, loading trucks, offloading trucks to get everything in that had to be in. And the show finished at like 2 o'clock in the morning, but we only finished loading trucks at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And then everyone still had to go and tip the stuff back at the office. And I was like, what a wild, chaotic
one of those shows where your eyes start burning at the end of the day because they're so sore.
Like we had to. You can speak.
I was going to say it wasn't like a Mickey Mouse show. It was a production. It's like a full-on thing.
No, it was quite a big thing. But at the end of the day, the show went well. Everyone was happy. The rest of us were just a little bit bummed out,
damaged,
and like a bit damaged from the experience. But it's a memory that I hold on to, and it's always something that I love about because there's a bunch of other things that happened that is not suitable for this session. But yeah, it's good memories. What piece of advice would you provide to someone who wants to come into the industry?
Sure. Just put your head down and work. That's it. Kind of. I don't want to say work comes first, but if you want to make it work, then set it as your priority and make it work. I could think of a quick story now that pops to mind. We're doing yet another festival, and you've got a whole bunch of students, and we're working, and the one guy's got a smoke. We're busy patching a stage, so the crew boss or someone says to the guy like, hey dude, you must choose now. You're either working or you're smoking. So this guy steps to the side and carries on with his cigarette. Needless to say, he wasn't there the next day. So yeah, it's just work. Ask questions. Don't ask too many questions. Don't become a pest, but ask the questions. Show interest. Be lacquer. Rock up on time. Work hard. It is hard, but it's not impossible.
I think like a big thing for me, and I've seen it in your journey as well, stepping up and speaking up. So my journey at multimedia, like I joined as a lighting tech and I was here for like 2 weeks. And I said to one of the shareholders, I don't want to be a tech for the rest of my life. I want to move into the business management side of things. I then spent the next 3 years being a tech, and I kind of forgot about that conversation. And then when opportunities came up, the shareholders came to me and they said, you're interested in moving into the business side. The opportunity has shown up now. Are you interested in doing it? And each time I would say yes, 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 yes. And that has pretty much been a big driver in my career. And it's the same with you. When the opportunity showed up to be the branch manager in Cape Town, you stepped up. That was before we even announced that there's going to be a change or we're looking for someone or whatever the case may be. You stepped up and said, hey guys, I don't know everything, but I'm willing to do my damn best to make you guys happy at the end of the day. So as much as it's about hard work and quality of work, you create a reputation through your hard work and your quality of work. But then at the end of the day, when an opportunity for bigger things shows up, you need to step up and ask for the opportunity to do it. And hopefully you have the reputation that your employer or potential employer will say, you know what, this person has showed the right drive. We're willing to take a risk with them and give them this opportunity. So
so not just to follow on that, it's your employer or your will only do so much. You've also got to take the step. You've got to make a move as well. It's not always just gonna keep rocking up here every Monday and wait for a change. You got to put yourself out there, put the neck out there.
Yeah. So if you could go back 10 years in time, what would you tell yourself?
Sure. I think it would be to also make those big moves. Don't be scared. Be scared. Be cautious, but don't be scared. And if you fail, that it's all right. It's not like no one's gonna die. Did anybody die? No one died. Yeah, I think that's about it. Really, is
that's how we measure failure. It's like, did someone die? No, then it's all good.
Yes,
that's why you continued playing a track while people were still in their speeches for years in a row, because no one died. If someone died, you would have stopped with the chaos.
It clearly didn't get escalated enough. Yeah.
So, Mikey, I have some rapid questions for you before we start wrapping up that I didn't give you. But quick answers. Don't ponder too long on it. Just jump in and give your answer. Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings.
Perfection or momentum?
Perfection.
Big budget or small creative freedom?
Small creative freedom.
Worst advice you've ever ignored, thankfully?
Worst advice you've ever ignored?
Yeah.
Safety third. I don't know.
The favorite one I've gotten so far is lift with your back.
Oh, yes, like it.
And then last one, if you could provide one word to describe the future of events, what would it be?
Exciting.
Exciting. There we go. So, Mikey, where can people follow you on social media or things if they think that you are a fun person to follow?
Sure. I'm not on, believe it or not on LinkedIn or any of these. I don't have a YouTube channel. I have a normal, everyday old person millennial Facebook account, and I have a Instagram for my woodworking. That's about it.
I would highly recommend that people go and check out your woodworking account. What's it called?
Woodland Carpenter.
Woodland Carpenter. Go and check it out. Mikey creates some cool things, some nice things. But overall, Mikey, thank you very much for your time. Always great having a chat with you. It's always fun listening to everyone's stories, where they come from, the days of working with Anu, doing festivals in between all the chaos. We all gone through the same journey, every single one of us. If one year at a time, new people come in, starting in festivals and working their way into the topper echelons of this event. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed your day with us today. And then we will see you in the next Backstage Pass. Okay, bye.